algebra, we are forging ahead in Unit 2, going to CO10, which is simplifying an expression with exponents when multiplying by the same base. I'm going to teach you 5 different rules for how to simplify exponent expressions, and this is the first, multiplying by the same base. And back to P09, okay, we talked about what is a coefficient, what is a base. The reason why that matters, the vocab, if you don't know what a base is, then how are you going to know what a same base is? If you don't know what a same base is, how do you know that you're multiplying by the same base? If you don't know that you're multiplying by the same base, how are you going to complete CO10? Okay, so knowing those vocab words, you're going to see immediately that they matter. Writing out an expanded form, you're going to see immediately that it matters. That understanding of what an exponent is going to matter big time in Unit 2. When we talk about simplifying expressions with exponents, what we mean is to combine all coefficients and like bases. Okay? Keyword there is like bases. To simplify an exponent expression means to combine all coefficients and like bases. Now, remember, coefficients, right? Those numbers that come before the base. And remember, the bases are what is attached to the power. Okay? And so we're going to use expanded form to kind of explain this rule, because if you forget a rule, you can always look to expanded form to help you. That's the beauty of it. So this first one here, 3 to the 4th times 3. What exponent does that 3 have? Even though it's not written, what exponent is there? 1. Okay? So just like if you've got a variable by itself, it's like 1n or 1x, Zoe. When you have a term by itself, even though it's not written, it has an exponent of 1. The bottom left hidden math box in the back of my room where it says 10 equals 10 to the first, okay? It's not written, but it's there. And so if we have 3 to the 4th, how many 3s is that? 4 of them. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, right? And we're multiplying that by 3 to the 1st, which is how many 3s? Just 1. Okay? What's a simpler way to write that? Yeah. 3 to the 5th, right? Because we have 5 3s all being multiplied together. That's the definition of what a power is, repeated multiplication. So 3 to the 4th times 3 to the 1st can be written as 3 to the 5th. You don't need a calculator yet, so you can just stop playing the calculator stealing game. Did you read yours at home again?
Got it.
Please bring to school. Thank you. You can combine these like bases, these bases of 3s, because if you have 4 of them and get 1 more, now you have 5. All right? Next one. Raise your hand, please. What is the base of 7y cubed? Anthony.
What?
Because I asked.
Okay.
Okay, the base is y. How many 7s are in 7y cubed? Just 1, because it's a coefficient, not attached to the power. So expanded form for 7y cubed is 7 times y times y times y. Right? 1 7, and then y cubed, 3 y's, all being multiplied together. What's y to the 4th in expanded form? Don't need a calculator. Yep. No. Yeah. Good. Y times y times y times y. Right? Here's our 7y cubed. Here's our y to the 4th. And notice the only operation that you're seeing here is multiplication. Right? There's nothing else going on. Because that's what an exponent means. You're multiplying something over and over again. So when we look at now combining this or simplifying this, how many y's do we have being multiplied together at all? 7 of them. So we can rewrite 7y cubed times y to the 4th as 7y to the 7th. 7y to the 7th. Questions so far? Or are we okay? Okay. Number 3, 8xy squared times 5x squared y cubed. Let's look at this 8xy squared first. Think about what that power of 2 is attached to. How many 8s are there in that expression? Dominic?
1.
Just 1. It's a coefficient. How many x's are there in the expression? Just 1. Right? Just 1. Why? Because that 2 is only attached to the base that comes immediately before it. There are no parentheses, right? So it's not applied to anything else. There's only one x here. Again, it's like this x has a power of 1. That's not written. 8x. I should put a multiplication symbol here so we can see. 8 times x, right? And then times y squared, which is y times y. And the next one, 5x squared y cubed. How many 5s are there? 2. 1. Okay? It's a coefficient. That exponent of 2 only applies to the x. So how many x's are there? 2. And how many y's are there? 3. Right? So we have 8 times x times y, that's 8xy squared, times 5 times x times y times y times y. 5 times x squared times y. So when we look at this, right, our definition to simplify says to combine all coefficients and like bases. What are the coefficients here?
8 and 5.
8 and 5. You know what? I haven't given anyone a button yet. Very good. 8 and 5. Okay? And remember, with multiplication, you can multiply things in any order. Right? So even though the 8 and the 5 aren't right next to each other, we can still combine them to get 40. It's great. Okay? And then we look for our like bases. We actually have 2 sets of like bases here. We have x's and we have some y's. How many x's do we have in all? 3. How do we write that?
3
X cubed. Oh, I don't want it in green. I want to use black here. X cubed. And how many y's do we have in all? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So y to the 5th. Okay? So 8xy squared times 5x squared y cubed simplifies to be 40 from the 8 times 5. X cubed, because we have a total of 3 of them here, I can count them up. 1, 2, 3. Y to the 5th, because I have a total of 5 of them there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see expanded form is super helpful here, right? It shows you exactly what all the bases are, what all the terms are in the expression. Okay. Now this cannot go on a help sheet because it is a pencil section. However, the next part that we're actually going to cover tomorrow, so I want you to play with this expanded form first, that can go on a help sheet, but we won't deal with that until tomorrow. Okay. So for homework, due tomorrow, down here it says write each expression in expanded form, then simplify it into one term. So exactly like we did up at the top, you're going to do here. So this first one, 6 squared times 6 cubed. What's 6 squared in expanded form?
6 times 6.
6 times 6. What's 6 cubed in expanded form?
6 cubed? Oh,
6 times 6 times 6. Right? How many 6's do we have in all?
5.
How can we write that?
6, 5.
6 to the 5th.
Or could you just like add the 2 on
Okay?
like up top? And just do it.
Oh, that's a quickie dink. So you're right. Cool. You still need to write it in expanded form. Okay? This must be expanded form for tomorrow. Pick another one you want to go over. We'll do one more together because this is all your homework is, just these 8. Okay? So we'll do 2 of them together. I'll leave you with 6. One more. Yeah.
1/2 a to the 5th.
Sure. Okay. 1/2 a to the 5th times 200a squared. 1/2 a to the 5th, how many halves are there? 1, because that 5 is not attached to the half. It's attached to the a, right? So there's 1/2, and then 5 a's, a times a times a times a times a to the 5th. How many 200s are there? 1, right? The exponent does not affect that coefficient. There's only one of them. And then a squared, how many a's are there in a squared? 2. Now, just like our last example that we did up above, we're looking to combine our coefficients and our like bases. Our coefficients here are 1/2 and 200. What's 1/2 of 200? Or 1/2 times 200? 100. Remember that word times, that word of, they mean the same. So half of 200 is 100. How many a's do we have? Peyton, how many a's do we have up there?
We have
7. How can we write 7 a's all being multiplied together? A to the 7th. So 100 a to the 7th would be your answer. You don't have to plug anything in to solve for it, right? We're not worried about that right now. All we want to do is focus on the simplifying, combining those like bases and combining the coefficients. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, comments, congratulations, criticisms? Do you think we can play the number game tomorrow?
We can, but is it likely?
Let's all prove Peyton wrong. Let's all do our homework, get it done for tomorrow. Go back in, do the homework sheet, do all the things, and let's play the number game tomorrow. Shall we? Does that sound
Well,
like
I
fun?
want to play the number game,
Then let's do it.
but I don't think it's likely.
Oh, come on. All right.
They don't believe in this.
God,
dude.
That whole thing. I don't know what it was, but just the whole thing. All right.
they didn't believe in us.
Too bad I don't know how to edit these.
God,
That's how I math.
Don't forget to like.